So tonight we're already at verse 19, chapter 1. Okay, Raja Yoga Sutras. So good job already for making it this far. So the last 2 weeks we had the very interesting concepts of 2 levels of enlightenment: the samprajnat samadhi, asamprajnat samadhi. So enlightenment with seed, so where we're still meditating or able to concentrate on more concrete things, and then without seed, the seedless state where we're connecting to the higher levels of the self. And tonight we'll come back down to earth just a little bit. It's still, the teachings are how do we get to this seedless state, but I think that we can find it a little more practical tonight. So in verse 19, asamprajnata samadhi, that's the seedless state, may be attained. So how do we attain it? By birth. So just by having a good birth, I'll talk about in a moment. And that's in those who have previously achieved bodilessness or emerging with prakriti. So what does that mean? That is bodilessness, that in the last lifetime, you are no longer attached to the physical body. So when you're born, you're pretty much ready for enlightenment. Or you're also, you've had a merging with prakriti. So that's the natural world. So that's the meditation with seed. You've been meditating on a river. You've been meditating on, the image of Ganesha or Hanuman, and you're so connected, but it's still concrete, that in your next life, you're born pretty much, they say you're born into a family of yogis and you're already enlightened. And there's stories of people like realizing in the womb. So that's one way to become enlightened. It's from all the work in your past lives. Now, how do we make that practical? Have you done work already? The answer is yes. We just meditated together. So that's already doing work. So whether it's the past life or yesterday, what it's teaching us is everything we've done brought us to this point, right? All of the sadhana, the spiritual practice, it's been accumulating within us, and it doesn't go to waste. So we're burning karma, or, frying the seeds like we talked about last time. Every time we sit down on a mat or a meditation cushion or our meditation chair, or lie down in our meditation bed, as long as we're not sleeping, but we're conscious, then, the practice is having an effect. And every little bit that we do gets us a little bit closer to ourself. And it's frying some of the seeds. So whether it's in, our past lives, or just all the practice I've done last week, last month, last year is helping me see a little bit more clearly today. It's helping me be a little closer to myself. And that's inspiring that we're getting the fruits of our efforts right now. But sometimes it's hard to see it. And the fruits we're getting right now, when you plant a tree, a mango tree, let's say, and I'm sure many of you have planted mango trees, the mangoes don't come the next week or the next month. We're getting asparagus now. Yamuna planted asparagus, I think it was 5 or 6 years ago. And this was the first year we have some, that we can actually put in the oven. Before they were so tiny, they're you can just eat them, but it wasn't like asparagus. But, it took 5 years to get the asparagus from that plant. And, the practices that you did 5 years ago, you're seeing the benefits right now. And sometimes, I meditated and I'm not feeling good yet. But we're pruning the mind, but it takes time for it to bloom. So, the work we're doing right now, we might only reap the benefits in 6 months or 2 years or 3 years. But the benefits are coming. They're always coming. And then we keep working again tomorrow. And if we've been doing the practice for a number of years, we start reaping the benefits from the past, but we're still getting those benefits, right? All the time. So don't give up. Do the practice. Keep it going. And you're planting the seeds now for a little bit in the future. If not a next life. But I like to think the next life is tomorrow and next week and next month and next year. So when you're doing, the good diet right now, it takes time for your body to digest everything that's already been put into it. So your healthy diet now, you're going to start getting more energetic in a month or two. Yamuna, my partner, she's studying some Ayurveda, and you're building, with your certain diet, you're building ojas, this spiritual strength, we can say. And, when you have the right diet to build this, it says it takes a full month before it actually starts accumulating within you. So it takes time to reap the benefits of the practice. So the practices we've done, we're feeling now. The more regular we are, the more the benefits keep coming. So that's how I like to look at this sutra. Look at this tonight. We're going to get through more than one. So we're going to finish before, while we're all still living, I think. So we're going to go to Sutra 20. So again, how do we find asamprajnat samadhi? For others, asamprajnata samadhi is attained through faith, energy, recollection, and keen awareness. So these are different other ways to find higher levels of enlightenment. The highest state is the commentary of Swami Vishnu. The highest state is reached through sincere lifelong application, as well as through past life efforts. So it's to be steady in our practice, abhyasa, and what we just talked about, right? Either from past lives or just from last week and last month. So the more sadhana or spiritual practice we do, we get closer and closer to the goal. Faith is the firm conviction that the truth exists and that it can and will be attained. With this basic positive attitude, failure is impossible. How nice is that? So if we have faith, the benefits are going to come. So how do we develop faith in the practice? And there's a few ways. And one really nice one is satsanga, what we're doing right now, right? It's called getting together with the wise. I'm sure one of you is wise, so we're all getting together with the wise, which is good. And so we're seeing other people working, and then, just by seeing each other showing up, well, we're showing up because it works for us. So that gives us inspiration on the days we don't feel like coming. It's like, okay, it worked for this person in that little box on Zoom, so maybe it'll work for me, or it worked for my neighbor, maybe it'll work for me. And then the real satsanga is meeting with like gurus or high-level yogis. And just last night, I went to the ashram for one night because they're having special pujas. And at the ashram, the Acharya of North America, or of Canada, Kanti Devi, who lives in Uruguay, was at the ashram. And I spent maybe 2 minutes with her. All I do is say hello, and she doesn't care about me. She goes, "Where are your kids? Why didn't you bring me your kids?" That's all people care about. But then I got to talk to her for a little bit, and she's leading right now the sadhana intensive. So it's 2 weeks at the ashram of pretty much alternate nostril breathing, 24 hours a day for 2 weeks. It's amazing practice, and I highly recommend it if you can get there for that. And just in 2 minutes of talking with her, she was so grateful just to be able to share these beautiful teachings. And you could just see how she was grateful because of the nourishment it can give to people in the world. And just hearing her talk for 1 or 2 minutes boosted my faith in yoga by 1,000%. So, getting to spend time with people, she's a lifelong yogi, has dedicated her life to spreading these teachings. And just being in the presence of somebody like that, it gives you faith in your own practice. So being around people, having the satsang, going to, for me, it's the Shivananda ashram. For you, maybe it's the Buddhist center or anywhere else. But going to take that time to meet with our teachers, it's so uplifting, and it gives us faith in our practice. So that's one way to have the faith. And the other is just to do your practice, because we feel good when we do it, right? Otherwise, we wouldn't do it. And then on the days, I don't know if I want to get up this morning, I don't know if I want to sit, we remember, wait, this actually works. This stuff works. And not only am I going to do it because I have to, I'm going to do it because I get to, because it works. And when we feel that it works, it builds faith within us to motivate us to do it more. So, we can always reflect, why am I doing this? Where was I before I started the practice? How has it been helping me? And if it's worked so far, it gives me faith that it'll work more. And when we do these studies, and now we're talking about levels of samadhi, and later we're talking about superpowers, and there's lots of interesting stuff in these teachings. But if we start to see that the very basics actually work, right? If I do sun salutations every day, then I start to feel a little stronger. I have a little bit more energy. We see that works. Then we have some faith that maybe some of the other stuff, I can balance my prana, my energy. What does that even mean? But if the sun salutations work, maybe this is also going to work. Maybe a meditation is possible. So by seeing that the little things work, it gives us faith that the other things work. And if we have that faith, it says that nothing is impossible. It's going to work. So by spending time in satsanga, doing our own practice, it builds our faith. So then, energy or will is the drive that carries one along the path, bouncing back after failures and maintaining courage through difficult times. So it needs a strong willpower, and faith gives that willpower. And Arjuna, one of my teachers, another teacher, he was Swami Vishnu's accountant for a while, and he said Swami Vishnu would say, "I'm a negative millionaire." He was a negative millionaire, but everything always worked. And Arjuna said, they have to pay a $30,000 bill the next day, and then the money would show up. It would always come, and that faith built the willpower not to go negative, but just to believe it's going to work out. And then it always worked out. So it was quite amazing, just to hear, someone living with the teacher and seeing that this actually happened. So our will help us overcome our failures as well. What's a failure? Okay, I didn't get into the headstand today. Well, so what? That's an ego thing, right? I feel good when I do the practice. That's enough. Whatever it is, it's enough. And then recollection is past spiritual samskaras rising to the surface of the mind and reinforcing the seeker's journey to his goal. So how do we get these past samskaras, or past thought patterns, we could say? It's through the practices that we do. And they're there inside us. And sometimes we're too busy to see them. But when we calm the mind, we can listen to our inner voice, and it comes up to nourish us. Keen awareness is focused application of the mind, the intense intellectual input that is necessary for merging with the Supreme. So being very present, being mindful, and this is our simple meditation practice, over time brings us more and more aware of our thoughts. We're able to prune the thoughts that aren't helpful to us. So when we hit those little dips in our practice, then the mind says, oh, I don't want to do this. I'm too tired. I just ate. I can't get up at this hour. Then we can observe that and say, is that really me talking, or is that the doubting mind? And through that awareness, then we say, no, that's not really me. I'm going to open the mat. I'm going to sit today. I'm going to log into the Zoom meeting at night, even though it's late at night. And I'm going to sit and do it. And all of these together bring us closer to the goal of this seedless state, asamprajnat samadhi, or as they say, enlightenment. So there's our talk for tonight. So for me, the big one is faith. And it's so nice just to see the practice works. And it's going to work today. It's going to work tomorrow. And we just have to remember it. And the more we do it, the more the faith comes. And the more the faith comes, the more we are inspired to practice. So keep up the practice. Om Namah Shivaya.